How's it going, folks? CR here. So, over the last few weeks, I've had conversations with several people uh, on Messenger, mainly some in real life, which got me thinking, I need to do this advice video. And for those of you who have watched my channel before, seen, some of my advice videos, while I was giving very good advice, I did it in a condescending and mocking manner uh, to the people I was giving advice to, and this was really more, to mock them for their more ridiculous demands or behaviors. This is not that type of video. This is to uh, give some general advice to some of the people I've had the discussions with. So for those of y'all who do get the video and you do decide to watch it, just know that I'm not trying to mock you or condescend to you or berate you or anything of that nature. And I realize that some of this advice you probably already heard before, for some reason or another. You may or may not trust the advice, or something of that nature. I'm kind of hoping that you'll listen to me on this one and at least take this into account. And while you may or may not follow this advice or whatnot, I just want the advice there, for your toolbox, so to speak. I'm going to start off on the career portion of it, the finance portion of it. The fact of the matter is that there is a lot of bad advice being circulated and that people have taken into heart. I'm going to cover that first. First thing I want to talk about is college diplomas. There is a bit of bad advice going around that states if you get a college diploma that you will get a better job or whatnot. It's not always the case. This bad advice was given to me by my own father. Now, I didn't actually listen to it, but the advice goes along the lines of, well, if you get an education, you'll be fine in life and success will follow. Well, the problem is that a lot of these college educations don't offer much in the way of education, and they certainly aren't things that employers look for when it comes to whether or not they want to hire you nowadays. Unless you can actually show that the college diploma is giving you skills for that job, the employer's just going to discount that. And in either case, it's probably not even going to be worth it because the employer probably would have hired you even without the college diploma. In most cases, anyway. Now, the exception to the rule is that if you're going for a job that does require a specific college diploma, and it's a job that's in demand and pays well enough for you to pay the student loan debt off, as well as make up for that time you were in school. But usually, jobs like that are engineering or in the medical field or something of that nature. They're difficult degrees to get, and you spend a lot of time and money on those degrees. So then you're pretty much obligated to that particular career field so you can actually pay off that student loan debt and then actually work and make enough money to catch you back up and then make that degree worth it. But for the most part, if it comes to, say, getting a college degree in something like arts and humanities versus going to work for McDonald's, I would go to work for McDonald's as opposed to getting that college degree in arts and humanities. At least there, doing that, you don't put yourself into debt. Um, so, with that being said, I'm going to move on to the next bit of bad advice. And this one I particularly despise this one. And this is the whole follow your dreams and passions and the money will follow. Whoever came up with that slogan should be tied to a tree, horsewhipped down the backside until there is no spot on them that is not completely lacerated. Then turn them over to their front side and horsewhip them on their front side for that. That advice is probably the worst advice out there. Look, when people are hiring you for a job, they're hiring you because they want you to do the work that they want you to do, and they're not hiring you to do the job or to do the job you want to do. And I doubt very few people have passions and dreams that align with most of the work that the market demands. The good thing about the free market is that if you're willing to do the day job, and do the work that is in demand, and you're willing to budget your money, you can at least have enough money set aside to pursue some of your passions and dreams on your free time. But the idea that you're going to pursue your passions and dreams first before considering the financial ramifications of it is just plain stupid. The other way people go with this is, well, my passions and dreams are something like, being an actor or playing for the NFL or, being in fashion design and, all of these careers. It's very unlikely that you're going to get into them, and even then you have to put a lot of work into it. So, for the most part, it's just not worth it. You would be better off just going for a regular job. So, the idea, again, as I say, I'm going to reiterate this because I cannot reiterate this enough. The idea that you're going to follow your passions and your dreams and the money you follow is, for the most part, a ridiculous idea. So, the next bit of bad advice: being too picky with your job. Yes, I understand there are a lot of jobs that you don't want to do, or you don't believe you're able to do. I always have the understanding of that, but there is going to be a job that you're going to have to take that you really don't want to do, but you're going to need to do it because you need to find a way to put food on your table and pay the bills. And that's just the reality of life. Now, I'll give you an example on my end. I tried being a car salesman. I failed at doing that miserably. I won't take another job as a car salesman because I know I'm not cut out for that job. However, there are other trades I will do. The problem comes when somebody has, well, they're not going to take this job and that job. Oh, well, that job's beneath them, or that's just not what they want to do, and they're just constantly, saying, well, I'm not going to try to get this skill. I'm not going to try to do this job. I only want to do a narrow path of jobs. Well, you do that, you're going to have probably a narrow amount of time you spend employed or gainfully employed, and you're going to limit your financial opportunities and your job securities in most cases, or at least in generally speaking. You got to be able to take a job even though it's not ideal. That's just the long and short of it. Let's talk about SSI, disability. If you are able to work and you are able to do a job, there's no reason why you should be filing for SSI and disability. Moreover, it's a pretty limiting path to go down. Must have been 2 decades ago now. And a friend, he had a decent paying job. He started dating this girl, and this girl convinced him to quit his job and to get on disability. Now, he qualified for this disability, but needless to say, that disability wasn't giving him as much money as his job was, and he quit a perfectly good job to get on disability. Months later, when one of us finally did talk to him, this mutual friend of ours responded, "Well, hey, we told you not to listen to that stupid fat bitch. Why'd you do it?" And of course, yes, that friend that got on disability regretted that decision. And I'm not going to lie, I mean, we kind of lost respect for him over that. And this is the thing, that program is put there for people who not only, qualify for that disability, but they can't find work elsewhere. That is there only for people who actually desperately need it. And the more people that get on that system that really don't need it, well, that's less people paying into the system and more people taken out of the system. And by the way, if you guys haven't figured this out about me, I'm not a big fan of the federal government, being in charge of this or having this program. But nonetheless, I mean, there's nothing I can do about it. So I'm just going to say it is there for those who desperately need it. Let's see. Things you can do. For financial reasons, for career-wise, there is actually a market out there that it's very underrated, very underdiscussed. And this is skilled trades. You have too many parents that are pushing their kids in the direction of college. You have a market of the market is flooded with college degrees. College degrees aren't worth near as much as everyone thinks, and and then you have the parents that sit there and say, well, follow your passions. What's being ignored there is a huge market of skilled labor. Yes, it is in demand. I mean, things like electricians, roofers, commercial drivers. I mean, and some of this is depending on which area you live in. Some of it, I mean, it's pretty much universal to the entirety of the U.S. But there is a market for skilled labor. Now, obviously, you're not going to get, say, as rich as some Harvard graduating lawyer or something like that. Definitely not going to get Warren Buffett rich doing this. Man, believe me, if I knew how to get Warren Buffett rich, I would be Warren Buffett rich. I'm just not. I'm telling you what I've observed works. But you will be able to have the resources, the income to live financially comfortably should you choose. Now, I mean, if you refuse to budget your money, well, that's on you, and you're going to have problems with that one. But as long as you're able to budget your money and save up some money, I mean, you'll have some money to live comfortably on. You won't be in any sort of desperate situation. Save some unforeseeable tragedy, or, well, some of it is foreseeable, but save some massive tragedy, so to speak. Another bit of advice I can give. Okay, so you've got a good full-time job, or a decent full-time job. You still don't have enough money, or you've got this extra time you don't know what to do with. Taking a second job always works. That second job, you can use that paycheck for like beer money. You can use it for your hobbies, your passions, your dreams, or you can save it up for a rainy day. Save it up to invest it for later on in life when you really want to enjoy that money down the road. You can save it for retirement. So you can either A, retire at an early age or an earlier age, or B, you can retire comfortably. I mean, there are several things you can do with that money. I mean, the choice is yours. On depression and existential crises, most of the people I've talked to who are depressed or have that down feeling of worthlessness, it usually is correlated with them not having a job that pays well enough to bring in enough money, or B, not having a job at all. Usually a lot of it boils down to finances. Again, as I say, I mean, if you can find a job that's in demand, a skilled labor job that's in demand, most of the time that depression, after you start working at the job and getting decent at the job, it is going to start going away. When you're working your ass off and you're getting paid, well, not obviously a princely sum, but, a decent sum, that depression tends to go away. For most of the people I've talked to, anyway, who've gone down that route. Now, depending on the circumstances, and I know I've had a few former friends and a few ex-girlfriends that have taken this mentality with me, and I don't get paid, a whole hell of a lot of money, at least I don't think I do, but, it is above the median. It was definitely more than they make, but it was always some sort of variation that I got paid more because I was lucky, or something else like that, which you will start to when you have people say that about you because they're jealous that you make more money than they do. You start to see that their job is really a lot easier than yours, and they're not working as many hours. People like that generally do start to piss you off. That depression might go from depression to being pissed off at a few people. Just saying on that one. Now, the other thing, girlfriends. This is girlfriends, boyfriends, relationships in general. The fact of the matter is that you're going to be in relationships that you're not happy with. I mean, that's reality. And I know with some people, I mean, when you're breaking up in a relationship, I mean, it's not exactly the most pleasant feeling, and fact, it doesn't. How do I put this? It plain sucks. Um, especially in your first few relationships, or if it's been a really long relationship, what you thought was a really good relationship. Yeah, I suppose that. Yeah, it's pretty painful breaking up from that. So, I mean, the best advice I can give on that is, after that breakup, just try to avoid thinking about the person, stay busy, stay active. In about 6 months' time, usually you'll think back on this like, why was I ever with that person? I know that I know that's the thought that's gone through my head. 6 months later, I'm like, wait a second. What the hell? Why the hell did I date that person? No, but anyway, parental expectations. Um, this one, yeah, there's no one way or the other. I mean, yeah, sometimes parental expectations, well, parents in general can be a little unrealistic. But in other times, I mean, some of these expectations are expectations that any parent would expect or any person would expect out of you. I mean, so you really have to actually stop and think and possibly get a second opinion. Specific parental expectations, so, I mean, you have to say, I mean, if it's something like you're 30 years old and you've never held a full-time job before in your life, well, yeah, you can expect your parents are going to be reasonably disappointed in you. If it is something like, well, you didn't make the honor roll or dean's list in college, or didn't graduate the valedictorian, yeah, it's a bit of an unrealistic expectation, unless, of course, you're going to like some special ed college or something like that. Oh no, seriously, I mean, I mean, you have to actually on this one think about what the expectation is, and possibly, I mean, get a second opinion, on this in some cases. But I think, if you think about it, I mean, the expectation's either going to be realistic or unrealistic. And you got to really make the call on that one yourself at the end of the day. But bear in mind, some expectations your parents have are, in fact, realistic expectations, and expectations that you should live up to, and some of them are stupid expectations. So, I mean, unless I have the actual expectation, I just don't know. That goes the same way with parental advice. As well-meaning as some parents are, I mean, they give bad advice. And then, you also have to consider the fact that your parents have been around longer than you have, and they have had a bit more experience as well, so some of that advice might actually be good advice. You just may not see it at that time. So, on that one, I don't really know. So, with that being said, for those of you who were watching and listening at this point, thank you all for watching. If you're one of the people who I was talking to in the messenger or real life and you're actually watching, I appreciate you watching to this point. And y'all take it easy and have a great day.